fellow comrades. In return, greetings from the striking workers of Greece. There's going to be a new general strike on Thursday. It will be the 6th time this year that we've had a general strike in Greece. 6 general strikes in 6 months. So we can fairly say that workers in Greece have responded with fury to the attacks organized by the IMF, the European Union, and the Greek government and bosses. And the first reason for this fury that we are seeing is the amazing scale of the attack. It's been horrific. The cuts are everywhere, in wages, in pensions, in hospitals, in education. The retirement age for women workers in the civil service is being raised by 15 years. Now, if this is not barbarism, I don't know what is. For a woman worker, in the civil service approaching 50 years of age to be asked to have 15 years of hard labor before she can retire, now this is barbarism. And cuts. People are losing 1 day's wages every week. This is the rate at which wages and pensions are being attacked. The hypocrisy is staggering. They say there's no money for hospitals in Greece. There's a huge crisis provoked by the fact that they're cutting back funding for the National Health Service. And at the same time, the Greek army is maintaining a military hospital to aid the American occupation of Afghanistan in Kabul. Now, if they can find money for a military hospital in Kabul, of course they can find money for hospitals in Greece, but they don't want to. This is the scale of the attack that people are facing. So, one reason why people are so furious is because of the scale of the attack. At the same time, the response of workers in Greece, I think, has shown what a myth it is that the working class has been rendered powerless by the development of capitalism, by the fact that capitalism now has changed. It's not the same as in Marxist time. And Greece has been used many, many times as an example that, well, where is the heavy industry? What exactly is Greece exporting? So where are the workers? Well, if they want to know where the workers are, they're out on the streets fighting. To a very large extent, this has been a spontaneous response. People have taken to striking and demonstrating, despite the fact that the trade union leaderships have been trying to avoid a strike wave since the beginning of the movement. So we have seen again and again sections of workers take the lead, despite the fact that there were weaknesses in the trade union leadership and weaknesses on the left. Bus workers in Athens, they discovered one day that they were not paid for the previous month. They tried to get the money from their bank accounts, and they discovered that the company had cut wages, had left them unpaid because the government refuses to subsidize the transport company, which is a state company in Athens. Their response was immediate. They found out late in the evening. The next morning they were at the gates. Not a single bus went out to the streets of Athens. watching football on television. There's the World Cup going on. The same applies to people in Greece. But there's a difference. For a couple of days, you could see the matches televised, but you could hear no commentary because the commentators were on strike. The state television company is trying to sack 250 people on temporary contracts. They refused to be sacked, they occupied the building, and they asked the trade union leaderships for strike support. And the journalists responded by organizing a 48-hour strike against the redundancies. That's why there was no commentary during those 2 days. And of course, the high point that shows the spontaneous strength of workers was on the 5th of May, when we had a general strike that was so massive, so massive. The reports say there were 500,000 people on the strike rally in the streets of Athens on that day. People were so furious. It was the day that Parliament was going to vote on the agreement with the IMF to implement all those cuts. The first contingents that reached the Parliament building attempted to go up the steps. It was the first time, for Greek history, it was the first time ever. Throughout the world we've seen many times, but it was bringing out these memories that workers, when they start to fight back, well, they can reach the level where they plan to storm parliaments. And this is what was on the verge of happening on the 5th of May in Greece. They were met with a riot police, and there were tons of tear gas released on people on that day. There were clashes with the police throughout the center of Athens, but people were not intimidated. Such was the fury, the anger, the spontaneous response, that they could not convince people that they had to go back. There was a next general strike on the 20th of May, and it was nearly as big as that huge strike on the 5th of May. Having said that, we have to say that part of the development of the movement of resistance in Greece is partly spontaneous, partly there's the role of the revolutionary and the anti-capitalist left in helping this movement unfold. And I'd like to say a few things about this. The role of revolutionary socialists has been crucial from the beginning. The strike movement was started on the 17th of December. That was budget day in Greece, and that was the first attempt by the Greek government to impose cuts before they made an agreement with the European Union and the IMF. The trade union leadership said there's going to be no strike, no demonstration on that day, on budget day. But people were refusing to take this. A group of socialist teachers took the initiative to say, we will strike and demonstrate on budget day, no matter what the trade union leaders say.